Okay, so I've got the floors in, and most importantly, I've started to modify the walls so they work a bit better across all the different levels. And it is really important that you get that organised first before you go and start trying to work out your roof. Particularly when it comes to the walls and the floor where they join along the side where you've got the glass roof. So that's the one I'll put in first. And sorry, the wall at the end actually it should come up and cover that over. So I'll need to show you a couple of little tricks there to make that work properly. And then the balcony is going to sit over these walls here, so we'll need to use a couple of little tricks as well to get that to work properly. But before I even think about that, I'm going to go and look at the levels or the height. So in my section view there, let's make it a bit bigger so I can see everything. You can see everything connects fairly well, so the walls sit on top of each other, the floors sit into the walls where they're supposed to, or under the walls as well where they're supposed to on the lowest level. But my heights aren't right. The thing that you've got to think about with programs like this is that the actual sizes of things don't need to be right to begin with. As long as you join things together in the right way, you can change those values at any stage, which is very different to a lot of older programs like AutoCAD, which you'll be learning next year, where you really do have to either get it right or you've got to change a lot of things later on. Here now, I want my floor-to-floor heights to all be 2700 for the lower two levels anyway. So I'm going to put a dimension in there to make my life a bit easier. From the lower ground floor to the ground floor up to level 1, and I may as well do the roof as well. So you can see at the moment they're all 4 meters apart. We'll start with the lowest one, change that to 2700. And you can see, not a problem, all the walls have just come down, and the floor as well. Going to the next level, level 1, I want that again to be 2700. And then the last one is a bit lower, it's only 2500. So you can see, because everything's joined together properly, it's not a problem to change that. Going into the 3D view, you can see everything's still connected properly the way I've just joined it. So now I want to put the roof in, and so I'm going to go to the level 1, oh sorry, not level, the ground floor plan, and so you can see the area here where that glass roof needs to go in. So I'm just going to use the regular roof tool, and right away, before I even draw my roof, I'm going to click Edit Type and make a new roof type. So I'm going to click Duplicate to make a new roof. I'm just going to call it Glass Roof. Edit the structure, and then I'll change the material to glass. But I might duplicate that material as well, and I'll call it glass roof or roofing, because I probably want this glass to be a bit different to the other glass in the project. I don't need to make the changes now. As long as I've got that material there, I can change it later, and I don't know, it's going to affect just my glass roof. So now I can change the thickness, and I'll just make it 20 mil. So now I'm going to pick walls and pick the edge of this wall running along the top of the top edge of the building on the lower ground floor level. Now I've got defined slope on there, but I want to change the slope there to just 5 degrees. So it's really important that you have a slope for even for a glass roof. Still got a drain. And now I'm going to go to the options bar and turn define slope off. And I'm going to pick the edges on the side of the wall here, and then over here. So that's where the roof finishes. But then, it's a bit trickier over here. If I try and pick that wall, notice it's going to go to the outside. I actually want it to go to the inside edge. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to use pick lines instead. So that's a little trick. If pick walls puts the edge on the wrong side, you can always use pick lines and still pick the edge of a wall on the side you want it to go. Here, it's putting it on the outside because I put this one on the outside, so it wants to keep following the same edge, but I don't want it to. So now I'm going to use trim and join all those lines together. Now, it's pitching here from level 1, so it means it's going to start at that level and then it's going to go up 5 degrees from there, which is okay. It may not be exactly that height in reality, but we can always change the level that it pitches from later. So I'm going to click to finish it, tick to finish, and then in the 3D view, you can see I've got a little glass roof that extends over just that side. Now, I can attach this wall, and watch what happens if I do attach top base to that wall. Notice how it only attaches that part of it, so the rest of it still extends under the flooring. And that's important because if you don't do that, you're going to have little gaps when you're looking in the interior between the roof and the top of the wall. So even if you can't see it, it's going to affect your lighting and all sorts of things like that. So again, this wall, same thing, attach top base, select the roof. Notice how we haven't got a funny join there, but this wall here, again, can be attached, just like the others. Now it's back to having a decent join. The only problem is this wall at the end, because that wall is, it needs to follow the slope of the roof, but it can't be attached to it because it's not under the roof. So you need to use a different approach, and I'll do that after I put the flooring in. Okay, so I'm going to put the extra flooring now for the balcony. Sorry, and okay, so to do that, I'll just need to actually check a measurement. Okay, so on my ground floor level, again, I'm going to make a roof. Now this one here, that's right. Okay, so on my ground floor level, I'm going to make a new floor. And again, I can use pick walls here to get this edge. And you see, for now, I'll just pick the outer edge. I think it does line up, but that's one thing I just want to check. So, before I do that even, I'm going to use pick lines to get the edge of the roof. I can't use pick walls here. Or can I? Yes, sorry, I can use pick walls because I can pick this outer edge and bring that across. That works. And then the same down here, pick walls, and that'll work. Okay, now I just want to check one measurement here. So, okay, so that floor, I didn't put this measurement on the drawing for you, sorry, but I just left that off. So 2280. Okay, so we're going to use pick lines here and put offset in on the options bar, 2280. Again, I just took these drawings from these measurements from the drawings that you'll be given probably today. Okay, so it does cantilever out a little bit. Right, so then using trim, I can join the top and the bottom together. They have to be on first, and then I can join the sides to the edge on the right. In other words, the top and the bottom to the edge on the right. Now, again, for now, I'll just leave it with the 150 flooring. Yep, that's fine for now. So tick to finish, and again, I'll get this message: do I want to attach? I'm going to say no. So again, I can go and manually attach. But now I'm getting this message: do I want to join geometry and cut the overlapping volume out of the walls? I'm going to say yes there. Nearly always when it asks you that question, you can say yes, but not to attaching. So looking at the 3D view, well, it didn't do much of a job anyway. So I've got to still go and join geometry with those. So on the Modify tab, using Join, I'll have to manually join each of these to my new floor so they don't stick through. So this is the deck, and it's important that you have a separate floor there because you'll want a different material for the decking, different to the interior floor. Okay, so now I can edit this wall so that the parapet extends beyond the roof. And again, this is important because you'll see that in the interior. So to do that, it's not as hard as it might seem. When you select the wall, if you click Edit Profile, you get the rectangle that shows you the shape of the wall when it's viewed from the side. Okay, so now you can use Pick Lines, and then I'm just going to put a little offset value in, so I'm going to make that just 100. I'm going to pick the top edge of the roof and the side of the floor. Doesn't matter where you pick these things as long as you get the right plane. So it's all about thinking where those planes project through to the profile that you're working on. So now I can use Trim and join these lines together. So you can see how that's going to give me a little parapet that's going to cover over the edge of the glass roof. So I can use Tick to finish it. You can see now I've got that extra bit of wall, which is really important. If you don't have that, it's just going to look really funny when you're looking at the interior of that room. And also when you're looking at the deck and all sorts of things, you're going to have issues if you don't sort that out. Okay, now if you're worried about this, you can actually bring that edge back if it does what it did with mine. Because I joined it, it tried to bring it across, but you can always manually drag that across to fix it. Okay, so now I can put the other roofs in, and they're a bit simpler, the next two. So the roof over the wall here on the above the ground floor needs to start on level 1. So it's drawn on level 1 to sit over ground floor. And okay, so here, looking at the walls first before I do anything, it's got to go over this greyed out area of wall and finish at the edge of the exterior of the walls on this level, on level 1. So using the roof tool, to begin with, I can just pick edges of those walls because I know I want to stop there. So the edge of the roof is going to sit right on those walls, and I can use Trim and get that done without having to think too much about it. But then you've got the section of roof that goes over the walls. Now, it does extend out beyond the balcony, but then on the other side, it's got, I think, a very small eave. Again, I'm going to check that, but for now, I'll just do it with a little eave. So, going back to pick walls, the overhang there, I'll make 100. Pick the outer edge there, and then the one at the bottom will actually have no overhang, I'm pretty sure. So 0 there, and at the top. And then over the balcony, again, it might need to change, but if you've modelled it in the right way, it's easy to change it. So I think it's around 2,000. So again, putting an overhang in there, I can just pick the edge of the wall and that'll extend out. So now I can again just use trim. Okay, so at the moment that's flat. Now it does have a slight slope, so I can go back now and select the lines on either side. So on the very left-hand side and on the very right-hand side with Control, I can select those two lines, turn on Define Slope, and put a slope in Properties. So I can give them both the same slope, 5 degrees. Tick to finish, and then again in the 3D view, I didn't make a new roof type. Now the roof is the right shape, but it's still a glass roof. So I'm going to go Edit Type, Duplicate, and oh sorry, I won't even duplicate. I'll cancel that. So I'll just set it back to a default roof. So I'll just choose generic 125 for now. So I've got a nice simple roof there, and so these walls that are under the roof, I can attach to it. So attaching to a roof is fine. So here I can attach that, one on the side, same thing, attach. But if if you approach it methodically rather than letting it attach it manually for you, it generally works much better. So going around, all the sides where I can see the wall needs to be attached to the roof. And make sure it's all tidied up properly. So you can see there that's all joined nice and neatly. Now there's a little section of roof that needs to go over the bathroom there. So I'll do that while I'm at it. Again on level 1 floor plan. Using the roof tool again. So this time before I make it, I'm going to click Edit Type and just set it back to generic 125mm so it sets it to the right kind of roof as I'm making it. I'm going to pick the edges on the side. Now here, I think it's fine just to leave it with no eaves on the side. Don't know why it didn't let me pick that wall. Oh, it did. I just forgot I've got the overhang that I set previously, 2000. Set that back to 0. Choose the edges either side and the one at the bottom. So that's where I want the roof to stop over those walls. And now again, I'll just give it 100mm overhang coming out to the side. With trim now, I can join these sides together. And then again, I'll come back and select that last edge that I made, turn on Define Slope, and set it to 5 degrees. Finish, and got a simple roof over that area there. And again, I can go around and attach just the 3 walls that sit under that roof. Last one there. Okay, so again, still all looks like a nice clean model. So finally I can do the roof on the upper level. Oh, now also don't forget, this roof will need to change because this edge does come out once you put the balcony in there. And I'll come back and do that afterwards. So I'm just going to go straight up to the roof level now. So I can make one last roof here, and so that roof it's quite similar to the others. There's one important difference though. It's got a parapet on the right hand side. So using pick lines, we'll be able to put that edge in, but the others, I think, again, I'll have to check the what happens over the balcony there. I honestly can't remember if it's got a big eave like the lower level, but the other sides, I think with a 0 overhang should be okay. So definitely the top and the bottom edge. The other sides, Oh, we'll just do it at 0 for now. I'll have to check that once you get your drawings. So for now, they can all just be 0. But then you can't use pick walls for the edge on the right-hand side because it's going to put the line to the right of the wall. It's really important that that line is on the left-hand side. So again, using that trick I showed you, pick lines instead of pick walls. You can pick the inside edge of the wall. That way this wall can extend beyond the roof. That's the most important thing. And then with pick walls, again, we can choose an edge here, and you definitely need some sort of overhang. Maybe for now, I'll just keep it at 2000, but I'm pretty sure it'll have to change. So it's going to give an overhang over the balcony that goes in next to the bedroom. So again, now using trim, I can join all those lines together so it's a closed loop. And then it needs to slope from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So I'm using Control to select both those lines. Turn on Define Slope. In Properties, you can set the slope again just to 5 degrees. Tick to finish it. In the 3D view, you can see we've got a roof over the upper level, which I can then go around and attach to each of the walls that sit under that roof. I know it's a bit of a process, but you know, if you get all of this right, it just makes the model so much easier to work with. If things aren't joined properly, it might seem simpler and less work to begin with, but you're actually just creating work for yourselves in the long run because it just makes everything a lot more difficult to keep track of. So I'll show you the section in a minute and you'll see why. So I'll just finish attaching this first, and now you can see this wall at the end needs to come up. And again, you'll need to check the parapet height, but just to put some sort of parapet on here, I can go and put in a top offset there, and I'll just make it, say, 500 mil. So that's worked, but notice how on this end, this wall still comes through, and it's not picking up the height of the main wall. So there's a little trick you can use to fix that up on the plan where you can see those walls. You can actually see the problem when you select a wall. If I select this one that I've brought up for the parapet, at the bottom you can see it extends all the way to the end. But at the top, it doesn't. So this is showing you what Revit does behind the scenes. It's automatically joining the walls. In most other programs, you'd have to manually go and connect the walls, and you have to know how walls join together. In Revit, you can get away with not knowing how things go together to a point. It's doing it for you, but at the end of the day, you still need to, at some point, know how things are joined and how you should join them. So here, you can see this wall extends through to the front, and we don't want that. So there's a tool you've got in Revit on the Modify tab called Wall Joints. So using that tool, you can change the way the walls join together. And so I'm going to select that wall join. The way the wall join tool works is by showing you the joins as you hover over them. So you'll see as I hover over different wall joins, I'll get these squares that are indicating which wall join is going to be selected if I click. I haven't clicked anywhere yet. Once I get the wall join I want, I'm going to click. And then you can see you've got the options on the options bar there, previous and next. I'm not going to change the type of joint. I want a butt joint. And you all have any of you have an idea what the difference between a butt and a miter joint is? Yeah, I mean, if you just think about things butting together. So if you've got two rectangular shapes like that, the face of one would butt up to the face of another one. A miter, so a miter joint, you'd have them angled off at 45 degrees to join together. So between them, sort of, yeah. Yep. So yeah, they do rest on each other. So if you go to miter, you can see. I'll just change it. There we are. So it keeps wanting to go to to butt for these, but it's because I've put the parapet in, so it's going to struggle doing a miter joint. But normally you can do a miter. I'll show you a miter on another one afterwards, but this one has to be butt just because of what I've done to the parapet. But I can still go next, and it'll then switch to this main wall extending to the end rather than the one that's coming across the top. And that's what I want. So I'm happy with that. I'll split to one side now, and you can see if I go and cancel out of the tool, I can select this wall, and now it extends all the way to the end, not this one. And then looking in the 3D view, you can see that's fixed the parapet there. So all of those things are important because that parapet wall is a real feature of the design. You see when you're coming to the entry. Okay, so oh yes, I said I'd show you the joints. So just going to another wall there. Let's have a look at a miter. Okay, so looking at the wall joints tool there. If I just, sorry, make sure I get the wall joints tool. Okay, so here I can go to miter, and you can see there that's a miter joint. So I've got those 45-degree lines between my joins, and this is important when you're doing cabinetry or anything. If you want to design any anything in detail, you've got to understand those different joints. And so butt and miter are two of the most common types. Okay, so I've got most of the building joining together, but I've left out one important element, and that's the balcony that goes in on level 1. So it has, I think, no visible balustrade. So basically, there's a floor cut into the roof there, and then the roof essentially acts as a balustrade. So the floor, I think, is roughly the same size as the one on the level below, maybe a bit smaller. So for now, I think 1750 should work pretty well. So I'll put the floor in first, and then I'll adjust the roof accordingly. So using just the regular floor tool, again, I'm just going to use the same floor type for now, and so I can pick this wall, and then I could pick this wall here as well, but it's actually better to use pick lines there, and down here as well. Oh, now that one, sorry, I know it's confusing, but this one at the bottom, you could actually use pick walls, and then back to pick lines, and I can switch to putting in an offset 1750 there, just to bring that across to the left. Did they know how to do it?
Well, apparently with the new line system,
yep,
you have to
use a different file.
Through automatic proxy.
Oh, it is automatically? Yeah.
It was that because you did something else just to configure proxies, but then it's still not doing it.
Still not doing it? Yeah.
But she said that Chris
knows
how to, he's done it on his new computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, try it with him, yeah.
He won't be in there.
He might be. Yeah. Just tell them they sent you from the library. Yeah. Okay, so I've made this floor, which again it's going to ask me, do I want to attach? I'm going to say no, and yes, and then looking at the modify roof, edit footprint, and I can bring that around the floor. So here I'm just going to use pick lines to keep it simple. Okay, so that's the part you need to watch out for, because you've got that little bit of roof that needs to extend along the side of the balcony. And again, there's lots of funny little details in this house, but it's all really good practice. So now if I look in my 3D view, you'll see what I mean. It's that little bit of roof there. If it's not there, on the inside it probably would be okay, but on the outside it would look weird. And so yeah, I think there must be a balustrade that extends up I'll have to check the slope of the roof there. But again, we'll leave that until you have all your drawings. But at least with that little bit of roof there, from the outside, especially from lower down, it doesn't look strange. Whereas if you don't have that there, it might look funny. Unless you've got a feature balustrade there, in which case you could get away without it. But anyhow, we'll look at that once you know what's happening with the balustrade there. So anyhow, it's not the easiest set of roofs to do. Some are easier than others, but all really good practice. If you can get that done before you start your designs, it's going to make everything much easier. If you get the openings in as well, that'll be good, but I will spend a bit of time on that afterwards. If you've done them already, that's good. But, you know, if you can get all the floors and roofs and everything else joined and connected to your walls properly, it'll just make everything easier when you go to start putting in your own layouts and doing your own decoration schemes as well.